move it away really, really carefully. Right. See if we've got something. Might take a little bit longer.
Right.
So drop down.
Yeah.
Just let it take.
I think I might have lost it. Oh.
Well done. Got to do something with it now, actually.
Hi everyone, I'd like to share something with you about bow drill friction firelighting. You might have seen this on television or in books. It's that the idea that we can rub some sticks together and make enough friction and heat to get a fire going. And it's more than just looking at the method itself, which might be interesting and might be cool, but I'd like to look at some of the ways that we can turn that into a learning experience, particularly for team building, but also to encourage people to actively review their performance and think about their experiences and maybe change things that will make them more successful in the future. I'll just introduce you to the tools that we need for this, or rather the elements of the friction firelighting equipment. So we've got a bearing block. This will go in my hand and I'll use it to push down on a drill. Now these are of a size that would be suitable for one person to make fire by friction. I'll show you the ones I use with bigger groups in a minute. So the thickness of your thumb, and a few inches long, 6-8 inches long, something like that. And this piece can be made out of green wood. In fact, that's beneficial. Green hardwood that will produce limited friction between itself and the drill, which is going to engage like that, and I'll push down on it. Another piece we need is this hearth. So this will go on the ground and the drill will be sandwiched between it and the bearing block. And as I push down, I want lots of friction at the bottom and as little friction as possible at the top. So we carve this to a sharp point, this a much more blunt point, and as it engages with this and spins round and round and round, you will see smoke pouring off it. And as you can see, it's already charred black in there from a previous attempt, and you'll also notice that there's a notch. In that notch, the ember, or the coal as some people call it, will collect. So as these two rub together, it produces sawdust, but because of the friction and the heat from the friction, it chars that sawdust and it will be black, and eventually if we can amalgamate enough of it together, it will produce an ember, and it will glow. It won't burst into flames, it will glow and look almost like the end of a burning cigarette. And if we didn't have that notch in there, it would all fly out all over the place, it wouldn't collect, and we wouldn't end up with an ember that would be usable. These two pieces can be made out of the same wood, but the key is that they are dry. So if you can find dead, dry wood, and there are a few that are particularly good. Willow's very good, lime is very good, elder, those are all good woods, and these are elder to make fire by friction with. If it's a very, very hard wood, like oak or blackthorn or hawthorn, it's not to say you can't make fire by friction with it, but what you will find is that because it's so hard, as you spin the hearth, the drill against the hearth, the wood will just polish and it will look very pretty. The wood will go shiny, but with that shininess and that density in the wood, you get very limited friction, and you constantly have to carve that polished bit away to make another attempt. Whereas these seem to work much more much more successfully. The one other piece you need, other than a knife and a saw to process these pieces from scratch, is the actual bow itself. Now, if you're doing this on your own, a one-person friction fire, something that's about as long as your arm, so from armpit to fingertips, this one's very slightly longer, that's about as much as one person can use easily. So I'll give you a quick demonstration. I'll show you how one person would make fire by friction, and then I'll introduce you to the equipment I use with groups. Because the problem would be if I gave this to a group, and you'll see this in a minute, it would be fairly easy for one person to take over and do the majority of it. Whereas with a team building exercise, obviously you want to build the team. You don't want it to be possible for one person to take over or to do it primarily themselves. So I'll show you the larger equipment we use for that in a moment, but I'll just do a very quick demonstration of friction fire just to sort of prove it works. What we've got here as well is a bundle of dry grass that's already been collected and prepared. If you don't have tinder ready, once you've got that ember, you'll fail to make a flame. You won't have anything to produce a flame with. And I've just got a tiny sliver of bark here that I will collect the ember on. If it just spews out onto the ground, it will break up. It's also, not so much right now, but if you were doing this in the cold and damp, like you'll see one of the groups do on the video a little bit later, if that ember dropped onto the ground, it would just go out if it was cold or if it was damp. So you're going to twist that drill into the bowstring. Bowstring needs to be fairly tight so that the drill moves. If it's too loose, the string will slip over the drill and you won't get any movement. Likewise, if the bow is too bendy, the bow will bend rather than the drill moving. When you start to move the bow back and forwards, try and keep the action of the bow parallel with the ground. Otherwise, if it crosses the drill at an angle, the string will rise or fall up and down it. And you need to start drilling with relatively light pressure from your left hand, otherwise you'll struggle to get it moving. Once you've built up a rhythm and you can start to see some smoke, then you can bear down with your left hand to produce more friction. So I can see some smoke. I bear down with my left hand. You just want to keep going a little bit beyond what you think you need. And what you'll produce is a pile of black powder, which is basically charred and burning sawdust, and you can see it there smoking away merrily. It does need to be producing smoke on its own. If it isn't, you've not quite got it and you need to continue drilling. So we've let that warm up a bit. We'll add it to this bundle of dry grass. And start to blow on it to produce a flame. Like with the drill itself, gently at first, but then the more smoke it produces, the harder you can blow. Just moving my face back so I don't get a mouthful of smoke when I'm trying to take a breath in. And there we go, fire by friction. And from there you can get your campfire lit. So that's how that's done. If we were to do that with a group though, how could I use it for team building? That's a one-person job really. So what I do is I scale everything up a bit. Of a much larger drill, almost a foot long. It would be much harder, and it's a lot thicker as well. That's maybe half again or twice as thick as my thumb. That would be too large for someone to effectively use on their own. So have a larger drill, everything scaled up. The size of the hearthboard is less important, but remember, if you've got lots of people, they might want to have 2 or 3 people have a foot on it to pin it down, so that the bigger the better, really. So it's got a larger hearthboard. Again, these 2 pieces are made out of elder in this case. And we have a larger bearing block, so there's space on this to have 2 people, one at either end, bearing down on it. And that's made out of ash. The bow, again, everything's scaled up, so there'd be no point using a bow this big on your own, because you can't make effective use of the whole string, your arms aren't long enough, and you'll end up with it one end wobbling around, bashing into the floor, getting tangled on things. It wouldn't be effective for one person, but for a group you can have one person on either end, and you can, it becomes more efficient to have 2 people on it. So that's the equipment I use, that's the stuff I would give a group of 4 people. It's possible with 2, but recently I've been using it with groups of 4. They would get a drill, a hearth, a bearing block and a bow of around that size, and I would expect them to make fire by friction. I'd demonstrate it first, as I have done for you, but then they would do the problem solving element as part of their team building activity, and they would do the physical element of lighting the fire as well. So we'll look at some examples of what groups have achieved with their friction fire lighting over the last few weeks.
We couldn't have it too much of it all. So how did we stop it going?
Yeah,
to
we
the
need
top?
to control that, because I remember this happened last time.
Yeah, so maybe don't cut a notch as much.
No, we had to chip away at this end, remember? We had to cut away, because what's happening is,
So we need it fresh.
we need to nip
But
this
don't we need to have it the other way around? Because
side down there.
Thinner end means less friction, doesn't it?
yeah, but we want more friction at that end,
Yeah.
don't we? So I think we need the thing the other way around. Okay. The drill the other way around.
What about
It's such a fail, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Prepared. For me?
Yeah.
Right, ready? We'll try it to you. Right. Okay, did that.
Got too high.
Yeah. It's burning up.
Okay. Bit less pressure. Lower the hands there, Rowan. Whoa, whoa. Should be able to just pop that back in there.
Right, if we can get a bit of angle that way, just keep it in. But we might need a new hole.
We'll try one more on there. So
Sure.
okay? A little less pressure. Oh no, we've come off.
Yeah.
Let's see if we've got anything.
We've got
I don't
some.
think we do.
There's a little bit, but not really much.
Just mind your head there, actually.
Let's just try again,
Into
see
your
if we can
face.
get it sort of that angle.
Right, you got it?
Okay.
I think
We're going to do a new hole.
Okay.
Just move it away really, really carefully. See if we've got something.
Right.
Has it dropped out?
Yeah.
Just let it take.
Oh.
Well done. Got to do something with it now, actually.
That's what.
Keep going for a bit.
We have lots of smoke. How much more smoke you want?
Stop. Slowly take all that away.
Going really high again.
So that's good smoke.
That's it. That's the stuff.
That's it. Keep going, guys.
That's the one.
Yeah,
That's the
it.
stuff. That's looking good. Keep going. That's it. Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah,
That
go
stuff's looking really good. You can smell it proper burning. Careful, so you kind of guess there's no harm in getting more.
Yeah, keep going.
That's looking really good.
Well done, guys.
But then do we just tip that into the...
You call it head.
I reckon it's about full, yeah.
Yeah.
Any of that any good?
You have a very big ember.
Woo!
So we just put
See
that...
how it's smoking on its own now?
Yeah. Let's get it right
That'll
in.
be, in the middle of that there will be a red
Yes.
ember.
Okay, let's build it up.
So if you want to grab some more tinder out of my bag as well, you can do.
Woohoo!
So the more it smokes, the harder you can blow.
Some more tinder when you want to.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it,
yeah.
Ted. Blow hard. Yeah. Do you want to grab hold of that glass so you can feed him? Got some more tinder. Oh, tinder's got a bit wet.
That feels so good. Honestly, that's just like a massive high.
Yeah. Got some more. I don't know if it's going to catch.
Oh, no, it's easy.
No, you got it, Ted.
Yeah, come on.
It looks like we're losing it. That's something we don't.
We've still got the
Yeah,
end
yeah,
of
yeah,
There
it's
it
still
is,
glowing, yeah. Do you need some drier pressure tinder maybe?
There's some bark.
Blow harder.
Blow harder.
Yeah. What you can turn this into a team effort as well by each, rather than just one person blowing and running out of breath, by each taking a turn. But it's smoking enough for you to really blow hard now, otherwise you won't get a flame.
Okay, we've got some birch. That's it. I'm dribbling on it. It's not a good thing.
That's not really good.
What's in there?
What?
If you blow really hard on that now, it should go any second. Just watch your eyebrows when it does.